Hi everybody. So in this video, I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the resources that you can look at and discuss a little bit further the personal essay as we move towards that final assignment. So I know that in an online format, especially in such a compressed one, it can be kind of difficult in the first weeks when we're sort of scrambling to get to know each other, figure out how the course works. And in this class, because it is so short, you have a paper coming due. You're having a draft of the first kind of big paper within the second week of class. And I want to take some time and just make sure that everyone is on board about what the personal essay assignment is. So I'm backtracking a little bit to make sure that you really understand what the assignment is requiring as we move towards that. So you can see one of the things that I did, I finished going through the outlines and giving feedback today. But because it took me a while to make sure that I gave detailed feedback to everybody, I did push this back again, just for your class only, to June 3rd. So we're into Friday now. And then the personal essay assignment, I moved from next Sunday into next Monday to give us just a little bit more time. So in this video, I'll just do kind of a quick overview of some of the resources that you can use and more of an explanation of what exactly the end goal of a personal essay is. So I'm just scrolling down the announcements. Something that I did want to point out is that these videos, when I create videos, specifically when I embed them in the announcements, I'm typically making them just for your class. So be sure to check those out. If I say my video, be sure to check it out. Because a lot of times I'll talk about the expectations that I specifically have, or I'll give you advice that I think will be helpful in completing the assignment. So if you haven't watched it yet, this video on creating an outline demo gives some further explanation that if maybe you were struggling in your outline and you didn't have a chance to watch this, it might clear up some of the things I was saying with the feedback and some of the areas where I might have explained like, oh, well, you want to include this, things like that. I did notice about half the class watched this video, which is good. But if you haven't watched this video, it's not a bad idea. It has some good resources. Even though you've already completed the outline, I think it can be helpful in understanding a little bit more about the assignment as well. So the assignment itself is a personal essay. So one thing that I've been noticing in some of the outlines as I've been doing feedback is that you might be talking about critical thinking more than you're talking about your personal experience, or you might be talking about your personal experience more than you're talking about critical thinking. And in this particular assignment, you want to do both. That's why I said it might be helpful to go back and watch the outlining video, because I do talk about creating a thesis statement where you're putting these pieces together. So in the personal essay, don't forget that it is called a personal essay. So if your outline was more about just generally like, here's what the article said, that's more informational. That's more like a summary. What you want to focus on is explaining how the article had some relationship to you. So the personal essay assignment, if you just check out like the details, you're basically going to be creating an essay with these 5 paragraphs. And I just wanted to point out that first and third person point of view are appropriate. You want to avoid second person, but first person is I, me, my. Those words should be in your essay quite a lot because it is a personal essay. If you click on the essay prompts for critical thinking, it talks a little bit about response writing. And specifically, we have these 3 prompts here. This is asking for a specific instance in your life when you did or did not use critical thinking, or describing a challenge you encountered and how you use critical thinking to face it. Or you could have picked one of the questions under here about connecting personally with the text. But these are all questions about how does this relate to your life? How does it agree or clash with your view of the world, you personally? What did you learn? And how much were your views and opinions challenged or changed by this text, if at all? If you're answering a question like this, just answering the first part, what did you learn, can very easily turn into a summary. What you want to do is make sure that you're talking about how you connected personally with the text in all of these questions. You want to put yourself as the focus. You want to talk about your relationship with the article, and you want to pull quotes from the article as well that relate to your personal experience or to whatever prompt you chose down here. So those are some basic things that you want to do in this personal essay. So I just wanted to, as the last couple resources I want to show you, if you go back to the announcement, I do have some of those samples included for you. I think I included a sample. If you look under here, there is a sample personal essay outline that I included, and I'll open that. Of course, it's taking forever. And you can see that up here, I wrote the prompt first. And in these statements, you can see that I'm talking about I, and I'm also talking about some of the skills that I pulled from the article about changing and reflecting on biases. So in this case, I'm focusing on a really specific part of the article. When the article talks about changing, reflecting on my biases, when you could do the same thing if you talk about a time that you were skeptical. And you can see that here I am going to describe the event, and I'm telling the story of what happened. And I have I throughout here. How I dealt with the issue. And then here I talk a little bit about my issues with critical thinking. And I have a quote from the article to tie in how I'm feeling about that. But you can see throughout this entire outline that I talk about myself, I talk about a personal experience, and then I tie it back to critical thinking in the article. And that's what you want to do. You want to get yourself into the article, into the essay that you're writing. So every single paragraph, aim for talking about yourself using first person, I, me, my, and try and connect it to the article in some way by finding a quote or a characteristic that's described in the article that we read by Lumen. The other thing I wanted to show you was just a source that might help as we go into writing the personal essay itself. You can kind of look through these samples as a process. In the course readings, there is a sample section. And if you click on the sample section about reading, writing, arithmetic, and 0 about jobs, there is a sample instructor's grading suggestions on the first draft. There's a sample first draft. There's a sample final copy. So you can kind of watch the entire process go through. And if you click on the sample first draft, you can download a Word document. And you'll see the same thing happening. This person's not talking about critical thinking, so you're not going to see, this person is responding to an article about jobs. And you can see how this person is talking about, they're relating it back to the article and their own personal experience with learning about careers. So that should be the focus of your personal essay. You're reflecting on your own thoughts, impressions, experiences as they relate to that critical thinking article. So I'm hoping that helps you to understand what's coming a little bit better. And if you have any questions, be sure to email me. Or hop on the Zoom. The Zoom office hours are also a great way to ask specific questions about your own outlines and drafts.